Hello, hello. Today I will be making a commentary of the Kiev, the Soviet T7 destroyer. Now, as you can see, if you saw from the matchmaking, this is a T8 game, or well, T7 to T8. So I'm kind of the lowest tier in this game, but that's fine. I don't mind because this ship is a goddamn monster. Now, a lot of my loyal subs who have watched some of my US destroyer vids, they told me straight up that, oh man, Flamu, you are going to love the Kiev. Now, I was a bit skeptical because the Ognavoy, I considered it very underwhelming, the whole two-turret setup. I must have lost count of the amount of times Oh, actually, there are a couple T6s in this game, so I'm not the lowest. Anyways, I must have lost count of how many times I lost a turret on the Ognavoy and just cursed and got frustrated because you lose 50% of your DPM, so I was skeptical. But now that I have fully upgraded the ship and like really gotten used to the gameplay of the ship, because I mean, it's a really strange destroyer because the base detectability of the ship is 9 kilometers. So you're really not as much a destroyer as you are a very, very light cruiser with amazing guns. Now, naturally, the first thing you might notice here is that I have more range than you usually have because the 4-point captain perk I invested in range. Because I think the range is by far the best pick on the ship because the guns are already so accurate and so long range that you want to emphasize, you want to strengthen that because it's very easy to land shots at max range with the ship. So personally I consider the range perk the best one of them all. Of course, some could argue that the fire chance might also be good, and it would probably also be good, but personally I prefer the range because it gives me more flexibility, it gives me more options, whereas because I really hate low range ships because you feel so constrained in my opinion. So I guess it's a player option, but personally I prefer the range over the fire chance. That might change with the next tier of ships, I have no idea. Maybe the T8, T9 or the Khabarovsk, maybe they benefit more from the fire chance, we'll see. But on the Kiev, I personally like the range a lot. Now, as you can see, I'm using... The first thing you probably notice is the speed on the ship is absolutely insane. And I have the 5% flags because I have a bunch of double strikes, like I usually get one a day, so I have like 60-70 of those flags, so I figured I'd use them on this guy, because this guy gets the most benefit out of them since his base speed is already so high. So even while maneuvering, you can see I'm hopping around 38 knots. If I would be going in a straight line, I do something like 44, 45 just with the flag. With the speed boost on, it gets even more extreme. But overall, the basic gameplay is pretty much what I'm doing here. It's constant gun harassment. At first glance, the damage you inflict seems small, but when you start realizing that, unlike other ships who have these breaks, who might have to dodge into cover, have to evade and so forth, I am constantly evading and I'm constantly firing. It's basically this non-stop rain of fire. This is very much, I think, one of the things you really need to embrace as a gun-based destroyer, is that you never ever stop firing. If your favorite target or the one you were shooting at turns away, you don't try to desperately get some lucky shots on him. No, you just switch to the next easy target. In this case I switch straight away to the turrets. I'm turning away because I don't want to be humping the edge. Doing a quick U-turn and waiting for my turrets to turn and continue. Of course I have the perk that increases my turret turn rate instead of having the one that gives me torpedo reload. That's something I use on... actually I only use it on Soviet DDs. I used it on the earlier tier US DDs, but once the torps actually got good enough I switched to the torpedo reload. But on the Soviet DDs so far, the turret traverse rate has been by far the most important perk, because you very rarely use your torpedoes, and when you use them, it's usually you only need one volley, because it's because you're rushing someone or you ambush someone or something, and the reload doesn't really help you there. So, in my opinion, always go for turret traverse. The third perk is obviously Superintendent, the 3-point perk for 3 smokes, because I'm sure you have seen my vids of how to use offensive smokes, which I have done repeatedly in my USDD guides and commentaries, and it's even stronger on this ship. So, Superintendent is by far the best perk. The other two or other three are pretty much useless. Like the repair, maybe, but I don't know. I mean, if you want lower cooldown repair, you can just use premium repair instead. So, not really worth it. I always use a premium smoke, or well, 22k doubloon smoke, because you want the lower cooldown, especially if you got two cubes in a division. It's very nice to be chaining smokes together and just non-stop firing from hiding. It's very frustrating and very strong. Anyway, as you can see, it's basically this game. My team has only now caught up to me, but I've just been raining fire here this entire time. I got the 50 hits, 3 fires, just non-stop harassment. It's like giving them no breaks, and I haven't taken any damage yet, because if you look at the bottom right or bottom middle of the screen, you can look at my rudder, the way it's shifting back and forth. I'm constantly turning one way or another. I think that's a mistake many, especially Soviet DDs do, is they only evade when the target they are shooting at is shooting at them, because they are the only ones they see. But when there's many targets like this, you can never be certain which one of them is shooting at you. It might be someone who's outside of your cannon sights, and especially when you're zoomed in constantly, as you usually are on this ship, or very much close to constantly. I switched to AP now, by the way. Don't underestimate the AP power of this ship. Oh, I managed to get 2 fires on him with my last HE wallet, but I'm already switched and committed to AP, so I'm gonna try to get some good hits in on him. As you can see, I have no issues penetrating him from 10 kilometers. So don't underestimate the AP damage of these ships, because the guns are actually quite meaty, and the AP does deal more damage than the HE. Of course, fire is a huge contributor to your damage, so only use HE if it's a cruiser giving broadside. That's pretty much the only case where I can see AP being good. Otherwise, it's all HE spam on pretty much everything. Anyways, what I was saying was, if you look at my rudder, you will constantly see it turning, or you can even look at the minimap. You see how my cone, how I'm constantly changing direction, changing course. It's to minimize the amount of damage I take at all times. Because what many people do is they only evade the guy they're shooting at. So someone else, like some of the guys on the other side of the map, they are basically looking at the Kiev, they're traveling in a straight course. And a destroyer traveling in a straight course is very, very easy to hit. As you can see, this is a Nürnberg, a German cruiser, and like all German cruisers up to, I think it might still be the York, I think it's until Admiral Hipper, they all frequently lose their engines if you land a shot at their citadel with HE, like I'm doing here. So this guy is on fire, and he's broken his engine. That was the second time I broke his engine, so his repair was on cooldown. So I naturally smoke up, and I'm going to finish him. This is the first time I use offensive smoke in this game, and that's simply because I know that he's immobilized, so he is practically a free kill. So there is absolutely no reason for me to not finish him, basically. The rest of my team, as you can see, is basically running away. We're something like 6 or 7 ships we're facing on this side, and we have like 3. A Mayoka, Nagata, and me, and a guy who died. I think it was the York. So I'm kind of have to dodge 6 different people while killing this. So in this case, the extra range that this ship has and the speed becomes very important, because it allows me to maneuver and avoid shells. As you can see, I don't know if you noticed there, but my engine was broken, so I couldn't brake, which meant that I slowly glided out of my offensive smoke. So I had to hit reverse and straight back into my smoke. That's why I took some extra damage, because I was basically engine broken. But now I managed to back straight back into my smoke, so I'm in cover. And I finished off the Nürnberg, and this Pensacola is trying to basically challenge me or something. I don't know why, because I will easily kill him. Yeah, he's already dead, but I'm shooting him just to finish it faster. Yeah, he's dead. The fire will kill him now. Or my shells will. Doesn't matter. He's dead. Now, the Atago is pushing quite heavily. I could sit in my smoke. Actually, no, I couldn't. It just ran out. So, I am instead going to switch to AP. Again, this is one of those cases where I said AP is good. When a cruiser within 10 kilometers is giving you broadside. that's when switching to AP is good. So I shot one volley HE, set him on fire, and now I switch to AP. And as you can see, I'm penetrating him without issues. If he starts angling his armor, turning towards me, turning away, whatever, then I will obviously switch back to HE. But as long as you got the broadside hit, it's always worth going for AP. And now if you keep an eye on the minimap, you might see that our Fubuki is chasing their Lexington. Now, the Lexington is probably aware of his location because it looks like he's sailing straight away from him. So I'm gonna start soon turning northwards. Oh! The Lexington is actually much closer. He's been running this far already. This is good. So I'm gonna put some harassment fire. Once again, I could try to get there undetected, but there's no guarantee that I will be able to get to the Lexington and there is no one covering him and I'll be able to kill him. So once again, I'm shooting. At anything I can shoot at, I'm shooting. As I said earlier in this vid, as a Soviet DD, you want to shoot at everything. Non-stop, constant shooting. That's why you have such a low reload, and that's why you're so fast and agile. You harass the entire battlefield basically. That's your job. Just lay down fire, shoot at everyone, force repairs, force fires, force cooldowns, and just dart in left, right, and it also confuses people when you suddenly start taking hits and they have to focus on you, try to hit you, but they can't really hit you because you're so hard to hit. Anyway, landed a few hits on the Hipper and the New Mexico, spotted them for my team, but now I'm going for my real target, which is obviously the Lexington. And as you can see, I can already open fire at 14 kilometers. So US DDs would have issues even hitting him from this range, and Japanese DDs, well, they could launch torpedoes, but very sketchy to land a hit. But this guy, he can start harassing straight away, and I'm going in a straight line now without avoiding, so you can see my speed is 45 knots. So there's no chance this Lexington will ever be able to outrun me. He is very much stuck, and his only chance is a plane killing me or someone coming to save him. But I'm going around his left side, so I'm moving away as far away from the enemy cruisers as possible, while still keeping the Lexington in my sights at all times. The Lexington is trying to get in cover behind rocks, but because I'm going around his left, he has no cover available, and the closest helper he has is probably the Admiral Hipper, but he's still so far away, and you can see how quickly he's melting. He was full HP when I started. I landed 67, 70 hits on him. He had 2 fires, he repaired them. If I get another fire on him, he's done. That's basically all I need. But I'm still gonna keep firing on him even if I get the fire, because, well, I want to kill him as soon as possible, because I don't want him to be able to manual drop. As soon as you kill the Lexington or a carrier, he can no longer give any commands to his planes, but as long as his ship is alive, even if it's burning, he can still give commands to his planes. So it's very common that carriers, if they realize they're about to die, they give like a last attack order, like torp this guy, bomb this guy, and so forth. So killing them as fast as possible is very much preferable, because they can't give that last command, or well, they can give it, but they'll have to, it'll be much more inaccurate because of how long it will be from when he gives it to when it actually lands. Okay, the Admiral Hipper is actually fairly close. He has 32k HP, I have 6,000 now. He's very close, and I'm stuck in a very awkward spot for me. I'm actually close to the edge. And this is a problem for this ship, because edge hugging is not really that good on the ship, because you want to use your massive speed to your advantage, and speed, and you want to keep distance, but he's so close. He keeps closing the distance because he knows that if he closes the distance, that's an advantage to him. Oh, I managed to get Confederate, that's always nice. So in this case I realize I'm fucked. I will not be able to outrun him because I'm boxed in. So I do the only thing I can. I close the distance with him, I switch to AP, and I smoke up. He has quite good armor, the Admiral Hipper, but I managed to close in so close, and you see the 2 planes, the 2 fighter planes arrived, so they are giving me vision now. If I would have smoked up earlier, I wouldn't have had any vision of him. But because the 2 fighter planes arrived to kill the torpedo bombers, they are actually giving me vision of him. So I can use, I go over this in my offensive smoke guide, but thanks to those 2 planes I now have vision of this Hipper, and I can use an offensive smoke. He can't see me, but I can see him, and naturally I'm using AP, and I'm actually just able to melt him. planes are still fighting, still giving a mission. Okay, he's angling his armor, so I switch back to HE. As I said, if he angles his armor, just switch back to HE. There's no point sticking to AP, you're not going to kill him. And he's dead. The smoke will still last for a good... That's, by the way, a T7 gun DD just blasting a T8 cruiser. That's how it goes. I think I'm able to carry this team to a victory here. If you look at my hits, you can see I almost have 400 hits already. This is much of what I mean with you want to constantly keep firing. No matter what you're doing, if you're evading, if you're running away, if you're attacking, whatever, always keep firing. Never stop firing, because the damage, it adds up. It's constant. You don't want any breaks in your damage dealing, because that's the one thing you excel at. Your torpedoes are shit, your concealment is shit, but you have the speed and you have the constant damage, and that's the things you want to emphasize. Now my smoke was about to run out, so I have a Tirpitz to fight. He had, how much HP did he have? A bit more than 20k I think when he started. So he's obviously trying to finish me. I have 1.4k HP, so one hit from him will be enough to kill me. But if you could take a look at the minimap or my rudder, you can see that every time he shoots a shell, I'll turn. I'm constantly going max one way or max the other when he shoots. Now that I know he's reloading, okay, I want to keep my distance at all times. Basically, I'm still too close to him for my taste. Now I start going straight, because I have a good angle. I can keep my full guns on him, and I'm sailing away. Now he shoots, and I turn a hard left. And all his shells are missing. Okay, done shooting, I turn back to my normal course, so I can bring all my guns to bear. And now I go straight again. And he's shooting again, so I turn hard left. At this range, it takes his shells so long to land, and the ship is so maneuverable because I have the perk that reduces rudder time, or not the perk, the upgrade of course, because I consider it very, very important on the ships, because it's one of the weaknesses they have is the rudder shift time, and the perk nullifies that, or well, the upgrade, it doesn't nullify but it reduces it. And like this constant maneuvering, constant kiting, constant keeping away. Oh, I got Witherer, that's always nice. That Witherer is when you deal 60,000 damage in fire or flooding. In my case it's obviously fire. My carrier is in love with me because I'm basically giving us the win here. And Arsonist, I burned him to death. I had 1.5k HP, he had 20k, but he couldn't land a single shot. And you can see the hits, 482 and 21 fire, 5 kills. The XP is nice, the money is nice. And if we look at the team score, yeah, well, you can see it was a pretty hard carry. I got over 3k base XP, which is quite nice, considering most others are T8 here. And if we go over to the damage... yeah, we got HE damage, obviously dominates the charts, but almost 65,000 fire, and then another 26,000 AP from all the cruisers and the Admiral Hipper and the Tagos I shot. So the total damage ends up being about 203,000 damage, which for a destroyer at T7 is quite respectable. Anyway, that was my Kiev commentary. I hope you enjoyed.